Chapter 3: Rethinking Goblin Culture. The Bog of Whispers loomed ahead like a forbidding curtain, shrouded in a fog that clung to the underbrush and obscured the ground beneath. Herbert, now Thorne, stood at the cusp of a pivotal moment, his chance to not only prove himself to the Grubby Hands clan, but to reinvent what it meant to be a goblin. He glanced over at Grebe, who nearly vibrated with anticipation, his eyes wide and his sharp teeth glimmering as he grinned. "What's the plan, boss?" Grebe hopped on the balls of his feet, nothing short of an excited bundle of energy. "Do you have a way to get past the beast? Nothing but mean spirits and swampy critters in there." "Yes, I do," Thorne replied, drawing himself to his full height despite the muck squelching beneath his boots. "I've spent years developing strategic plans to overcome challenges in the corporate sphere. This will be no different. We'll treat this like a product launch, a calculated risk." Grebe tilted his head, confusion dancing on his brow. "A product launch? What's dat?" Thorne rubbed his chin, momentarily at a loss for words. "Right. Goblins think differently, don't they? All right." He crouched down to Grebe's eye level, trying to communicate his thoughts more plainly. "We need to analyze our environment, gather intel on the beast, figure out its weaknesses, build a strategy to collect the luminous moss, and importantly, ensure we're not devoured." Grebe's expression transformed as understanding dawned. Yeah, they say the beast is a mean old swamp worm, but maybe we can trick it?" "A distraction could work," Thorne replied, straightening up, a plan already crystallizing in his mind. "Listen closely. We need to gather resources and assess what we'll face once inside. And let's utilize the assets from your clan. If we're to succeed, teamwork will be essential." Grebe nodded vigorously, a spark of fiery enthusiasm igniting within him. "I got my cousins nearby. We can ask them to help set traps or make some loud noises. This worm will never see us coming." It was a start, and Thorne's confidence surged. "Perfect. Now we need to put our skills to work." With that, the duo moved purposefully towards Grebe's cousins, their path now etched with determination. As they waded through the thick undergrowth, Thorne's mind began mulling over the fundamental aspects of goblin culture he had observed so far. Goblins were not unlike stakeholders in a company. They had their own interests and concerns, fears of being usurped, and a strong inclination towards the familiar, even if it meant sticking to outdated practices. The more he thought about it, the more he realized, if he was to successfully lead them into a new era, he must first challenge their existing beliefs and redefine their cultural narrative. The Grubby Hands clan's lair was a small settlement nestled between a duo of gnarled trees bent low, their branches dripping with moss, creating a natural canopy that gave them some shelter from the swamp's relentless rain. Grebe led, one young goblin chirped eagerly, brandishing a crude contraption made from vines and sticks. "Me and my pals love making dem. We can catch the beast and keep it busy." "I'm good at distraction," another goblin chimed in, nervously toying with the edges of his frayed shirt. "I can throw rocks, make noise, anything y'all need." "Fantastic!" Thorne exclaimed, feeling a surge of optimism wash over him. "Gather everyone. We need a team ready to face this beast head-on. Distraction, traps, and speed will be our greatest allies." The goblins buzzed with excitement, getting to work quickly. They scampered about, gathering supplies, discussing strategies, and piecing together their makeshift arsenal while Thorne directed them like a conductor before an orchestra. It felt invigorating, like he had inadvertently become a leader, shaping and molding the energy of his followers. "Boss Thorne," Grebe said, scampering up to him, panting slightly from enthusiasm. "Can we make the beast think it's surrounded by a whole army? They say it can't see well, but it hears everything." Thorne's mind raced. There was merit in Grebe's idea. "Absolutely. Let's create noise that mimics multiple beings. If we can trick it into thinking there's a powerful goblin assault, it may flee or become so occupied that we can safely grab the luminous moss." Grebe bounced with glee. "I'll show everyone how it's done. Let's get to work." As Thorne observed the preparations, he witnessed something remarkable. The goblins infused a sense of play into their tasks. Even the younger goblins threw themselves into challenges, each vying to outdo the others, celebrating small victories along the way. It made him realize that foolishness was inherent to their culture, but it could be diverted into something greater, something that leveraged their innate qualities toward a shared purpose. Still, Thorne pondered, how could he transform their penchant for chaos into structure? He needed them to see beyond their trivial squabbles and embrace a unified vision. A revolutionary thought began to form in his mind. If we succeed in retrieving this luminous moss and establish it as a valuable asset, we can begin to reshape our identity, promoting ideas of teamwork, respect, and ambition. An empire starts with small victories. The making of the traps attracted the attention of older goblins, those who normally lurked in the shadows, uninterested in the daily bustle. Slowly, they approached the scene, watching with raised eyebrows and mystified expressions. Thorne caught sight of them and made a mental note. If he could engage the elder goblins, their influences could be pivotal. "Gentlemen," Thorne called out, his voice booming but cordial, "I see you're observing the younger generation at work. Wouldn't you agree there's potential in their enthusiasm? This chaos can be turned into unity with your guidance." A rotund goblin with a beard as scraggly as Thorne's stepped forward, arm folded. "Is that so? But perhaps we don't need to forget the past, but rather build upon it. We can create a budding realm from what we've learned. And who knows, you might enjoy the spoils of being revered and instrumental in its success." A bold claim. The elder's demeanor shifted slightly, curiosity peeking behind the caution. "If we were to try your way, how'd you prevent chaos? I'll show you. Bring me the loudest and most skilled goblins," Thorne said, half glancing at the chattering youngsters already brainstorming traps. "Let's stage an event, a practice run for our plan. If we can imitate a large legion of goblins engaging the worm, we'll prove a point. It'll allow everyone to understand teamwork and merit in practice." The elder stroked his beard thoughtfully, slowly nodding. "A demonstration, eh? I'll consider it. But I'll warn you now, make it work, or I'll not be so forgiving." Grebe scampered back to Thorne's side, eyes sparkling with determination as he overheard the conversation. "Did you see that? They may give you a chance. You really did it, boss." Thorne exhaled a deep breath, letting victory wash over him. "But there's still much to achieve, Grebe. We only have until dusk. As we prepare to engage the worm, we must ensure every goblin is ready to distract, to trap, and to retrieve." Hours passed as they dug in, laughter echoing through the dense thicket. No longer just creatures lost to despair, these goblins began working together, the sound fueling their spirits into a dynamic blur of teamwork and excitement. As twilight started to drape the swamp in enchanting hues, Thorne felt a rush of anticipation coursing through him. They were ready. What once appeared to be a simple heist had morphed into an invigorating collective endeavor. He had struck a nerve, ignited a passion. "Gather around!" Thorne called as the sun dipped below the horizon, the swamp bathed in the ethereal glow of twilight. The younger goblins breasted towards him, their eyes alight with fervor. "Tonight, we venture into the unknown, challenging the unfathomable. We orchestrate the greatest ambush in goblindom's history. Let us show the worm and ourselves what we are capable of." Cheers erupted, eager goblin voices rising together like a chorus. With every shout, Thorne felt grounded further in this new identity. Together, they would face the worm, reclaim their culture, and prove that clever chaos could transform into calculated power. Beneath the shimmering stars emerging in the endless swamp sky, they gathered together. Goblin and human alike stood unified in purpose, an alliance blossoming against the backdrop of uncertainty. Regardless of the outcome, Thorne knew he had begun to illuminate the path forward, a stroke of genius amidst the bog, where ambition and teamwork had finally intertwined. They would be more than just goblins from the swamp. They would rise together, forging an empire cemented in resilience and shared destiny. End of chapter 3.